A billionaire brings a poor black man to his sister's wedding. At least, that's what the family sees. A black man in a wrinkled cotton suit, frayed cuffs, scuffed shoes, no watch, no ring. He looks like he borrowed the outfit from a thrift store. "Excuse me, I'm a guest of Preston Caldwell." Harrison Caldwell, the bride's father, looks at him the way one looks at garbage. "A guest?" He laughs. "Preston drags some poor black beggar to my daughter's wedding and calls it a guest?" He steps forward. "The servants' entrance is around back. Go wait with the drivers where your kind belongs." His wife covers her mouth, giggling. Guests pull out phones, recording, live streaming, capturing every second of humiliation. No one defends him. But none of them know. When the groom walks out and says two simple words, this entire family will freeze. And everything they thought they knew will shatter. If you've ever been satisfied udged before anyone satisfied udged asked your name, this story is for you. Let's rewind. 3 hours earlier, a black Bentley glides through the iron gates of Stonington Country Club, Greenwich, Connecticut, June 2024. The kind of place where membership costs more than most people's homes, where the grass stays green because someone decided it should be. Two men sit inside. Preston Caldwell drives. 42 years old, founder of Cloud9, a tech company valued at $8 billion. His family name is carved into buildings across the Northeast. Old money, old blood, old expectations. Beside him sits Tyrone Wallace, 52 years old, a black man in a simple gray cotton suit. No Rolex, no diamond cufflinks, no visible signs of wealth. They've been friends for 25 years. It started at Yale, September 1999. Two freshmen at the same table in Sterling Memorial Library. Preston was the rich kid nobody wanted to know. Too much baggage. Too many assumptions. People saw his last name and decided he wasn't worth knowing as a person. Tyrone was the scholarship kid from Baltimore, Cherry Hill housing projects. His mother, Gloria, cleaned houses for families like the Caldwells. She worked double shifts so her son could have books instead of excuses. Preston looked up from his reading. "What are you studying?" Tyrone showed him. "Economics." "Me too." Preston smiled. "Want to grab coffee after?" No calculation, no agenda, just two 18-year-olds who didn't care about what the other one was, only who they were. 25 years later, their paths have twisted and converged in ways neither predicted. Preston built Cloud9 from a dorm room idea into a tech empire. He gives speeches, sits on boards, carries the Caldwell name like a weight he never asked for. Tyrone built Wallace Capital Holdings from nothing. Started with $50,000 borrowed against his mother's life insurance. Now manages over $12 billion in assets. Forbes 400. Net worth, $4.2 billion. Self-made score, perfect 10. But here's the thing about Tyrone Wallace. He doesn't wear his success like armor. The watch on his wrist costs $40. The suit he wears today is cotton, not silk. When he drives himself. No entourage, no fanfare. "People show you who they are," Tyrone once told Preston. "I like to let them." 2 weeks ago, Preston called his oldest friend. "Samantha's getting married. I need you there." Samantha, Preston's younger sister, the one Caldwell who actually has a heart. She's marrying Derek Anderson, a man the family has never fully embraced. "Your father still has issues," Tyrone said. "Not a question. My father has many things. Issues is a polite word for some of them." "Then why do you want me there?" Preston's answer came after a long pause, the kind that holds 25 years of friendship. "Because Samantha deserves to know who actually supports her, and because my family needs to see themselves. Sometimes people need a mirror, Tyrone. You've always been mine." Receipt R1. The text message sits in Tyrone's phone. Preston's words, time-stamped 2 weeks ago, "I need you there," You'll understand why. Now the Bentley rolls to a stop. Tyrone looks at the white columns, the manicured hedges, the valets in crisp uniforms, the world arranged for certain people and inconvenient for others. "Ready?" Preston asks. Tyrone takes a breath, smells fresh-cut grass and expensive perfume. "I've been ready my whole life." They step out of the car, and Harrison Caldwell is already waiting at the entrance. Watching, judging, deciding. Mini cliffhanger. The car doors close, and Harrison Caldwell steps forward. Harrison Caldwell stands at the top of the entrance steps like a king surveying his domain. 70 years old, silver hair swept back with precision, navy Brioni suit, Patek Philippe watch. His posture broadcasts ownership of this club, this day, this family. Preston reaches the steps first. Harrison embraces him. A patriarch's grip. "Son, good to see you." "Dad." Then Harrison's eyes move to the man beside his son. They travel slowly, deliberately, from Tyrone's face to his scuffed shoes and back again. The assessment takes 3 seconds. The satisfied judgment takes less. Harrison does not extend his hand. "Excuse me, I'm a guest of Preston Caldwell." Harrison's lip curls. "A guest?" He laughs, cold, sharp. "Preston drags some poor black beggar to my daughter's wedding and calls it a guest?" The words land like slaps. Poor, black, beggar. 3 words, each one a verdict. Harrison steps closer. His voice drops but carries venom. "The servant's entrance is around back. Go wait with the drivers where your kind belongs." Receipt R2. "Go wait with the drivers where your kind belongs." 10 words. No question mark. A command delivered to a man worth more than the speaker will ever know. Tyrone's hand, still extended, hangs in the air for a moment. He lowers it slowly. His face remains neutral, the way water stays still before a stone breaks its surface. "I'm not with the drivers, sir. I'm here as Preston's guest." "Preston's guest?" Harrison's voice rises. "My son's charity project? His little diversity experiment?" Eleanor Caldwell appears at the doorway, 67, pearls at her throat, a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. She takes one look at Tyrone and covers her mouth, giggling. "Oh my." She turns to Harrison. "Preston always did have strange hobbies." Guests gathering near the entrance begin to notice. Whispers ripple through the crowd. "Who is that?" "Someone Preston brought, apparently." "In that suit? To a Caldwell wedding?" Phones appear, screens glow. Someone starts a live stream. The caption reads, "OMG drama at the wedding already." Preston steps forward. "Dad, Tyrone is my friend. My oldest friend. From Yale. I invited him." "From Yale?" Harrison scoffs. "They'll let anyone in these days, won't they? Affirmative action, quotas, the standards have collapsed." "Dad." "No." Harrison raises a hand. "This is Samantha's day. I won't have it ruined by this." He gestures at Tyrone like he's pointing at a stain on the carpet. Margaret Whitfield, an elderly woman dripping with diamonds, leans toward her husband. Her whisper carries perfectly. "Harrison should call security. That man clearly doesn't belong." Her husband nods. "Probably snuck in hoping for free food." Laughter, soft but sharp. Tyrone hears every word. He stands alone in the middle of the circular driveway. Staff members glance at him as they pass, some curious, some uncomfortable, none approaching. The roses lining the entrance smell expensive, bred for appearance, not fragrance. Even the flowers here are performing. Richard Thornton, the club's general manager, approaches with a clipboard and a tight smile. "Sir, I'm going to need to see your invitation and identification." Tyrone produces both: the heavy cardstock, the embossed lettering, his driver's license. Thornton examines them like he's checking for counterfeits. Types something into his tablet. Compares. Types again. Across the driveway, an elderly white couple walks past without being stopped. A younger family enters through the main doors with nothing but a wave. Only Tyrone gets checked. "Everything seems to be in order," Thornton finally says. He sounds disappointed. "Thank you." Preston returns, jaw tight. "I'm sorry, I'm so sorry." "Don't be." Tyrone takes back his license. "This is why you invited me, isn't it? So they could see themselves." "I didn't think it would be this bad." "It's always this bad, Preston. The only difference is today you're watching." They walk toward the entrance, past the mahogany doors, into a ballroom where 180 guests mingle beneath crystal chandeliers. Tyrone is one of two black people in the room. The other is behind the bar, serving drinks. Mini cliffhanger. The cocktail hour begins, and the humiliation is just getting started. The ballroom smells of white lilies and inherited wealth. 180 guests circulate in careful patterns. Champagne flutes catch light from chandeliers that cost more than most college educations. The women wear silk and diamonds. The men wear confidence and contempt. Tyrone stands near the window, a glass of sparkling water in his hand. He chose water deliberately. Clarity requires sobriety. The first approach comes within minutes. A woman in her 60s, blonde hair lacquered into submission, Cartier bracelet heavy on her wrist, sidles up with the predatory grace of a society matron scenting prey. "So," she sips her champagne, "how exactly do you know Preston?" "We were roommates at Yale," it said, and her eyebrows arch. "Yale? Really?" She says it like he claimed to be from Mars. "Yale has those scholarship programs, doesn't it? For the underprivileged?" "It does." "I had one." "How nice for you." She pats his arm, the way one pats a stray dog before walking away. "Enjoy the party. The food is quite good. I'm sure you'll appreciate it." She drifts off. Mission accomplished. The outsider has been assessed and found tolerable. Barely. The second approach comes from a man with a Harvard tie and a condescending smile. "You must be in sports." He looks at Tyrone's build the way one examines livestock. "Basketball, football, track?" "No." "Really? What then?" "Finance." The man laughs. Actually laughs. "Finance? That's adorable. Good for you. We all have dreams." He moves on before Tyrone can respond. The third approach is worse. An older woman, friend of Eleanor's, judging by the matching pearls, stops directly in front of Tyrone, looks him up and down, wrinkles her nose. "You know there's a dress code here. Perhaps no one told you." She gestures at his suit. "We expect a certain standard. You might be more comfortable somewhere else." "I was invited." "Were you?" She smiles, not kindly. "Well, invitations can be mistakes." She walks away, heels clicking on marble like a verdict being delivered with each step. Across the ballroom, Eleanor Caldwell whispers to Harrison. Her voice carries just enough. "We should have done a background check. Who knows what kind of person Preston picked up?" Harrison grunts. "My son's judgment has always been questionable. First that tech nonsense, now this." "Do you think he's dangerous?" "Dangerous?" Harrison looks at Tyrone the way one looks at a cockroach. "No, just embarrassing. A grown man in a thrift store suit pretending he belongs with us." A bridesmaid, young, glossy, phone permanently attached to her hand, starts an Instagram live. She pans across the room, narrating the decorations, the flowers, the absolutely gorgeous venue. Her camera catches something she doesn't notice. Receipt R3. The live stream captures 15 seconds of Richard Thornton approaching Tyrone for a second verification. The general manager's face is polite. His body language screams suspicion. In the background, white guests flow past unquestioned, unbothered. The video will get 40,000 views by tomorrow morning. Sir, I apologize, but there's been some additional confusion about the guest list. Tyrone's jaw tightens slightly. My invitation was already verified, twice. Yes, but the family has requested additional confirmation. Which family member? Thornton hesitates. His eyes flick toward Harrison, who watches from across the room with studied indifference. I'm afraid I can't say, sir. Then I'm afraid I can't help you. Tyrone doesn't move toward any office, doesn't comply with the unspoken demand to disappear. Thornton retreats, not satisfied, but outmaneuvered. The encounter leaves ripples. Guests who witnessed it whisper to guests who didn't. The whispers spread like fire through dry grass. Did you see? Who does he think he is? Someone should really do something. Poor Preston. So embarrassing for the family. Tyrone finds a spot near the tall windows overlooking the golf course. The 18th green stretches toward the horizon, impossibly perfect, aggressively maintained. He thinks about his mother. Gloria Wallace spent 30 years cleaning houses for families like this. She knew the layout of mansions she could never afford, knew where the silver was kept, which rooms were for show, which doors were never meant for people like her. She never entered through the front door, not once. My feet know the back entrance of every rich house in Baltimore, she used to say, but my son will walk through the front. Tyrone walked through the front today. And yet here he stands, alone by the window, while the party flows around him like water around a stone. A young woman approaches, late 20s, kind eyes that don't slide away when they meet his. Mr. Wallace? Yes. I'm one of the bridesmaids, Lisa. She glances around nervously. I just wanted to say, what happened with Richard? And Mrs. Caldwell? It wasn't right. No, it wasn't. Samantha doesn't know. She's been in the bridal suite all morning. But if she knew what her father said, it's her wedding day. She shouldn't have to know. Lisa nods, relieved and ashamed in equal measure. Preston picked well, she says quietly. His friends, I mean. You seem kind. She disappears back into the crowd before Tyrone can respond. The cocktail hour winds toward its end. Guests begin migrating toward the garden terrace for the ceremony. Tyrone remains by the window, watching, waiting. A door opens at the far end of the ballroom. A man in a white tuxedo steps out, adjusting his boutonniere. Derek Anderson, the groom. He scans the crowd for familiar faces. His eyes find Tyrone, and everything stops. Mini cliffhanger. Derek's face changes, and he starts walking. Fast. Derek Anderson's face breaks into a grin, not a polite grin, not a social grin, the kind that comes from genuine surprise meeting genuine warmth in the same breath. He crosses the ballroom with purpose, weaving through clusters of champagne-holding guests who part for the groom without understanding why he's moving so fast. Toward the man by the window, toward the man in the wrinkled cotton suit, toward the man everyone has spent the last hour dismissing. Derek reaches Tyrone, extends his hand, grips it firm, and says 2 words. Hello, boss. The room goes silent. Conversations freeze mid-sentence. Champagne glasses pause halfway to lips. 180 pairs of eyes turn toward the 2 men. Receipt R4. 2 words. Hello, boss. Spoken naturally, comfortably, the way an employee greets their employer every single day. Harrison Caldwell's face drains of color. His champagne flute tilts. Liquid splashes onto his brioni sleeve. He doesn't notice. Eleanor's hand flies to her pearls, clutching them like a lifeline. Boss? Someone whispers. The word ripples through the crowd. Derek turns to face the room, his hand still on Tyrone's shoulder, genuine confusion on his face. Wait, you haven't met? He looks around at the assembled Caldwell family and their 200 closest acquaintances. This is Tyrone Wallace, CEO of Wallace Capital Holdings. I've worked for him for 6 years. Silence. Absolute. Complete. Suffocating. Tyrone Wallace, CEO. Wallace Capital Holdings, one of the most respected investment firms on the East Coast. 6 years. The groom, the man marrying into the Caldwell family, has worked for this man for 6 years. Phones appear again, but the typing is different now. Tyrone Wallace, billionaire. Google delivers its verdict in milliseconds. Forbes 400. Net worth, $4.2 billion. Self-made score, 10 out of 10. 4.2 billion. The Caldwell Family Trust sits at 2.8. The poor black beggar is worth more than the entire Caldwell bloodline. Harrison's mouth opens, closes, opens again. No sound comes out. Eleanor looks like she might faint. The woman with the Cartier bracelet, the one who asked about scholarship programs, has gone pale. The man who assumed Tyrone played sports is suddenly very interested in his shoes. Margaret Whitfield, the one who suggested calling security, drops her champagne glass. It shatters on the marble floor. No one moves to clean it. Preston stands near the bar, watching his father's face. His expression holds no satisfaction, only something sadder, deeper. The look of a son who finally showed his family the mirror they'd been avoiding for 70 years. Derek continues, oblivious to the earthquake beneath his feet. Tyrone isn't just my boss. He's the reason I am who I am. When nobody else would give me a chance, he did. Samantha appears at the doorway of the bridal suite, still in her robe, drawn by the unusual silence. Derek, what's happening? Nothing, sweetheart. Just ran into an old friend. Derek grins at Tyrone. Well, not old, current, my boss. Did I not mention that? Samantha's eyes move between Tyrone and her father, between the man in the simple suit and the man who looks like he's seen a ghost. Dad, are you okay? Harrison doesn't answer. He turns, walks toward the terrace doors, pushes through them without a word. He doesn't look back. Eleanor follows after a moment, her social smile fixed in place like a mask about to crack. The ballroom slowly returns to life, but the frequency has changed. The whispers carry different words now. Billionaire? More than the Caldwells. Harrison asked him to wait with the drivers. Called him a beggar. Oh my God. Tyrone stands exactly where he's been standing. Same posture, same expression, because for him, nothing has changed. He knew who he was when he walked in. Now everyone else does too. Mini cliffhanger. But this is only the surface. The real history runs much deeper. The phones keep glowing. In corners of the ballroom, on terraces, in bathroom stalls, guests type and scroll and discover. The algorithm serves them a feast of information they wish they'd had an hour ago. Receipt R5, Forbes, December 2022. Tyrone Wallace, from Baltimore projects to $4.2 billion empire. The article tells a story nobody in this room imagined. Gloria Wallace, single mother, house cleaner, Cherry Hill Housing Project, one of Baltimore's most dangerous neighborhoods. Tyrone Wallace, scholarship to Yale, graduated summa cum laude. First job at a prestigious investment firm, fired after 2 years. Reason given, not the right cultural fit. Cultural fit, the professional way of saying wrong skin color. He started Wallace Capital Holdings with $50,000 borrowed against his mother's life insurance policy, the company she'd paid into for 20 years. She died in 2003, breast cancer. She was 54. She never saw her son become a billionaire. But she saw something more important. She saw him become a man who didn't need to become cruel to succeed. The Forbes article includes a quote from Tyrone. "My mother cleaned houses for people who never learned her name. I learned everyone's name. That's the difference between wealth and worth." Phones keep scrolling. Someone finds something else. "Hey, look at this. Caldwell and Partners. Isn't that Harrison's old firm?" "Yeah, why?" "There's something here. A deal that fell through, with Wallace Capital, back in 2015. Say. Receipt R6. The email surfaces through a network of former colleagues and forwarded grudges. Screenshots shared across years until they reach the right inbox at the right moment. From harrison.caldwell@Caldwell Partners. To board distribution list. Date March 14, 2015. Subject, Wallace Capital Partnership Proposal. Gentlemen, I have reviewed the proposal from Wallace Capital Holdings. While the numbers appear sound, I have significant concerns about their leadership. I recommend we explore alternatives with more traditional firms. Let's discuss at Thursday's meeting. Traditional firms. The phrase hangs in the air like poison. What does traditional mean when the only non-traditional element is the color of the CEO's skin? The deal collapsed. Wallace Capital went elsewhere. Found partners who cared about returns, not pigmentation. Over the next 8 years, Wallace Capital's assets grew by 400%. Caldwell and Partners posted losses in 2018. Merged with a larger firm in 2020. Absorbed, really. Swallowed whole. Harrison Caldwell's concerns about leadership cost his firm a partnership worth hundreds of millions of dollars. The man he called a beggar today could have made him rich 9 years ago. If only Harrison had been able to see past the color of Tyrone's skin. Preston finds his friend by the window. The email is circulating. "I know. I'm sorry." "Don't be. I've known about that email for years. It didn't change anything then. It doesn't change anything now. But everyone else is learning what you and I already knew." Tyrone's voice remains level, calm. The voice of a man who stopped needing validation decades ago. "Your father made a judgment based on what he assumed about me. It cost him. That's not my burden to carry." Across the room, Victoria Palmer watches the scene unfold. 48 years old. Attorney specializing in civil rights litigation. She's here as Derek's guest. They met through a pro bono case years ago. She knows this club. Intimately. Receipt R7. Victoria applied for membership at Stonington Country Club 3 years ago. Her credentials were impeccable. Partner at a major firm, multiple awards, more than enough income to meet every financial requirement. Application denied. Reason given, membership at capacity. 1 week later, 2 white families were admitted. Their applications had been submitted after hers. Victoria sued. Palmer versus Stonington Country Club 2019. Case dismissed. Insufficient evidence of pattern discrimination. One case isn't a pattern. One person isn't proof. But today, Victoria is watching a pattern emerge in real time. The membership records of Stonington Country Club stretch back 100 years. The founding families, Caldwell among them, established the club in 1923. Since then, thousands of members have joined and departed. Not a single one has been black. Not in 100 years. 100 years. 0 black members. That's not coincidence, that's architecture. The club's official policies contain no discriminatory language. The guest requirements are technically neutral. But neutrality on paper and neutrality in practice are different things. Tyrone got checked twice today, questioned twice, treated like an intruder in a space where he was explicitly invited. The bartender working tonight? He's been serving at this club for 15 years. He's never been offered membership. The question has never even been asked. Victoria approaches Preston at the bar. "Your friend Wallace, how long have you known each other?" 25 years. "And he's never been here before?" Preston's jaw tightens. "He was never invited. My father made sure of that." "Your father has a pattern." "My father has many things. Pattern is one word for it." Victoria hands him her card. "If Tyrone ever wants to talk, legally speaking, I have experience with institutions like this one." Preston takes the card, tucks it into his pocket. "If you're watching this story unfold and wondering where it leads, stay with me." The ceremony is about to begin, but the real revelation is still coming. What these people don't know about Tyrone Wallace will change everything. The cocktail hour officially ends. Guests begin migrating toward the ceremony space, a garden terrace overlooking the Long Island Sound. White chairs arranged in perfect rows, an arbor draped in flowers. Harrison has not returned from wherever he fled. Eleanor finally coaxes him back inside, whispering urgently, gesturing toward the garden where their daughter waits to be married. He walks past Tyrone without acknowledgement, without eye contact. The way you walk past furniture you wish would disappear. But his ears are red. His hands are fisted at his sides. This is not over. The string quartet begins to play. Pachelbel's canon, the universal signal for ceremonies about to commence. Derek takes his position at the altar. His best man stands beside him. Preston walks to his seat. He'll give Samantha away later, walking her down the aisle because their father refused to participate in what he called this circus. Tyrone finds his assigned seat. Back row, near the kitchen entrance. The seat that says guest without saying welcome. He watches the garden fill with people who looked past him an hour ago and can't stop looking now. The music swells. Samantha appears in the doorway, radiant in white, holding calla lilies. Her eyes find Derek. And for this moment, nothing else matters. This is still a wedding, still a love story, still a day that belongs to the bride and groom. But underneath the music and the flowers and the vows about to be spoken, something else is building. A reckoning. And Harrison Caldwell has no idea how much worse it's about to get. Mini cliffhanger. The ceremony ends. But Harrison has one more move to make. The ceremony ends with a kiss and applause. Derek and Samantha Anderson, husband and wife. The string quartet plays something triumphant as the couple walks back down the aisle, beaming, oblivious to the undertow. The reception begins in the main ballroom, tables arranged with military precision, place cards in elegant calligraphy, a seating chart designed to separate undesirables from the important people. Tyrone's table is in the back corner, near the kitchen doors, next to the emergency exit. He doesn't complain. He sits. He waits. He watches. Harrison Caldwell waits exactly 12 minutes after the receiving line disperses. Then he moves. He finds Preston on the terrace, drinking scotch and staring at the water. "We need to talk." Preston doesn't turn around. "Do we?" "You planned this." Harrison's voice is low but carries venom. "You wanted to humiliate me on your sister's wedding day." "No, Dad. I wanted you to see yourself." "What I see is my son betraying his family for some..." He stops himself, breathes. "For your friend." "My friend? The billionaire? The self-made success story? That friend? Don't play games with me." Preston finally turns. His eyes are hard. "I'm not playing anything. I invited my oldest friend to my sister's wedding. Everything that happened after, every assumption, every insult, every time you decided who Tyrone was without asking a single question, that was all you, Dad. That was your choice." He should have said something. Should have identified himself. "Why?" Preston's voice rises. Why should he have to announce his net worth to be treated like a human being? Is that the standard now? You check bank accounts before you offer basic decency? Harrison steps closer. His face is red. His hands are shaking. This is not over. Actually, it is. The trust fund. Harrison plays his card. Samantha's inheritance. Consider it frozen. Preston goes very still. What? Until certain adjustments are made. Your choice of guests. Derek's employment situation. These things have consequences. You would punish Samantha for my choices? I will protect this family from embarrassment. The only embarrassment here is you. Preston sets down his glass. The crystal clicks against the stone railing. And Samantha's trust fund is legally separate. You can't touch it. I had lawyers verify that years ago, because I always knew, you'd try something like this eventually. Harrison's mouth opens, closes. He has no response. Inside the ballroom, Samantha has found Derek near their table. Mascara streaks her cheeks. Derek, my father just told me. I know, I heard. He said he's cutting me off because your boss. Tyrone has nothing to do with your father's choices. Derek's voice is firm but gentle. Your father decided who Tyrone was the moment he saw him. He was wrong. That's not Tyrone's fault. It's not my fault. It's not yours. But the things people are saying... What things? That my boss is a billionaire who showed up in a regular suit? That your father asked him to wait with the drivers? Called him a beggar? Samantha's tears continue, but something shifts behind her eyes. My father really said that? Go wait with the drivers where your kind belongs. Word for word. Oh, God. She covers her mouth. That's who he is, Sam. I'm sorry you had to see it today. But maybe it's better you saw it now than never. Receipt R8. The text message comes 2 hours later, after the cake is cut, after the first dance, after Harrison and Eleanor leave early, claiming exhaustion. From Harrison to Samantha. Your choice of husband has embarrassed this family. Don't expect the trust fund. We'll discuss this when you've come to your senses. Samantha shows Derek. Derek shows Preston. Preston shows Tyrone. I'm sorry, Preston says. This is my fault. No. Tyrone folds his napkin carefully. This is your father's fault. The only thing you did was give him a chance to be better. He chose not to take it. Eleanor pauses near Tyrone's table on her way out. Her mask of composure is cracking at the edges. I hope you're satisfied, she says quietly, with the disruption you've caused to our family. Then she's gone. Harrison later told associates the incident was an unfortunate misunderstanding. He claimed he has many black friends and meant no offense by his comments. He was unable to name any of these friends when asked. Tyrone watches her leave. His expression doesn't change. The disruption, as she calls it, was never his intention. He came to a wedding, wore a simple suit, didn't announce his title or his wealth, just existed. And that, apparently, was disruption enough. Mini cliffhanger. Tyrone steps out onto the balcony, into memories he hasn't visited in years. The balcony overlooks the 18th green. Sunset paints the sky in oranges and purples. The golf course stretches toward the horizon, every blade of grass precisely measured, perfection maintained by invisible hands. Tyrone stands at the railing, a glass of water in his hand. The party continues behind him, music, laughter, the clink of silverware. But it feels distant now, like sounds from another life. He thinks about his mother, not Gloria Wallace the cleaner, not the woman who raised him alone in Cherry Hill. He thinks about Gloria Wallace, the person, and the memory that lives in his bones. Baltimore, 1982. Tyrone was 10 years old. Gloria couldn't find a sitter that day. She had to work. So she brought her son along to the big house in Roland Park, where a woman named Mrs. Patterson waited with a list of rooms that needed cleaning. The house smelled like furniture polish and fresh flowers, real flowers, not the kind from the corner store. Mrs. Patterson looked at Tyrone like he was a problem to be solved. "He can't stay in the house." Gloria's voice stayed steady. "It's just for today, ma'am. He'll be quiet. He has his school books. He can wait outside." "It's January, ma'am. It's cold." Mrs. Patterson considered this, a moment that stretched long enough to become a verdict. "Then the garage, not inside." Gloria didn't argue. She never argued. She took Tyrone's hand and led him to the garage, found an old lawn chair, set him up with his books and a blanket she'd brought from home. "I'll check on you every hour, baby." "Why can't I stay inside, Mama?" Gloria knelt down. Her eyes were tired, but her voice was not. "Because she hasn't learned how to see us yet, Tyrone. Some people look at us and see what they expect, not what's there." "What does she expect?" "Something less than what we are." She kissed his forehead. "But don't you ever let that become true. You are more. You will always be more." Tyrone waited in that garage for 5 hours. He read his school books, did his homework, listened to the sounds of his mother working in a house he wasn't allowed to enter, the smell of motor oil, the cold concrete floor, the single window letting in gray winter light. When they walked home that night, Gloria held his hand tight. "One day," she said, "you'll walk through every front door in this city, and people like Mrs. Patterson will wonder how they ever missed you." Gloria Wallace died in 2003. Breast cancer, 54 years old. She never saw her son become a billionaire, never saw him on Forbes or shaking hands with presidents. But she saw him become someone who didn't need to become cruel to succeed. She saw him become someone who walked through front doors, without apologizing for existing. If this story is bringing up memories of your own, moments when someone looked at you and saw less, I want to hear about it. Leave a comment. Share your story. Because these stories matter. Your story matters. The balcony door opens behind Tyrone. Footsteps approach. Not Preston's. Not Derek's. Someone else. He turns and sees a face he doesn't expect. Mini cliffhanger. The person standing there isn't who he thought it would be. Victoria Palmer carries 2 glasses of orange juice. "Mr. Wallace?" She offers one. Or should I say, the man who made Harrison Caldwell choke on his own assumptions. Tyrone accepts the glass. "You know Harrison?" "I know this club." Victoria moves to the railing beside him. "I know it intimately." She tells him her story. Receipt R9, Palmer v. Stonington Country Club, 2019. Case dismissed for insufficient evidence of pattern discrimination. Application denied for capacity issues, Victoria explains. 1 week later, 2 white families got in. Applications submitted after mine. "You sued?" "I sued. And lost." She sips her juice. "Not because I was wrong. Because proving systemic discrimination requires a pattern. One case isn't a pattern. One person isn't proof." "And now?" Victoria looks back at the ballroom. "Now I'm watching a pattern emerge in real time. The membership records, the guest policy enforcement. What happened to you today?" She pauses. "Did you know there's never been a black member? In 100 years. Not one." "I suspected. It's not accidental. It's architectural." The door opens again. Samantha steps onto the balcony, still in her wedding dress, eyes swollen but drying. "Mr. Wallace?" Tyrone turns. "Mrs. Anderson, congratulations." "I owe you an apology." She wrings her hands. "What my father did, what my family, I didn't know. I didn't know they were really like that. You didn't need to know. It's not your burden. But it happened at my wedding because you came to support Derek and my family treated you like... She can't finish. Like what they expected me to be. Samantha's face crumples. I'm so sorry. Don't apologize for someone else's choices. You're not responsible for your father, only for yourself. She looks at him for a long moment, then she nods. Derek talks about you all the time, how you gave him his first real chance, saw something in him nobody else saw. Derek earned everything he has. I just opened a door. That's more than most people do. She wipes her eyes. Whatever my father thinks, you'll always be welcome in our home. The door opens once more. Preston and Derek step out together. The four of them stand on the balcony now, watching the sunset fade into dusk. Derek puts his arm around Samantha. You okay? Getting there. Preston stands beside Tyrone. The silence between them is comfortable. 25 years of friendship doesn't require constant words. Finally, Preston speaks. There's something you should know. Tyrone waits. It's about the scholarship, the Wallace Foundation scholarship. What about it? Preston takes a breath. Olivia Caldwell, my cousin, Harrison's niece. He pauses. She's a recipient. Tyrone's expression doesn't change. I know. You know. I know every scholarship recipient. It's my foundation. But Harrison doesn't know. Nobody in my family knows where her scholarship comes from. The irony settles over them like evening mist. The man who rejected Tyrone's leadership has a niece whose entire future exists because of Tyrone's generosity. Mini cliffhanger. The revelation is just beginning. Receipt R10. Wallace Foundation Educational Grant. Recipient: Olivia Caldwell. Year: 2022. Full scholarship to Cambridge University. Reference number: WF 2022-0156. Harrison's niece, Preston repeats. She applied 3 years ago. Full ride. Cambridge. One of only 15 recipients that year. Derek looks confused. Wait, Olivia? The one studying abroad? The same. Her scholarship is from Tyrone's foundation? Tyrone nods slowly. The Wallace Foundation reviews applications blind. Names removed. Demographics removed. We evaluate based on merit, need, and potential. Nothing else. So you didn't know she was a Caldwell when you approved it? No. And it wouldn't have mattered if I did. Tyrone's voice is quiet but firm. Scholarships go to merit, not to father's sins or uncle's prejudices. The full picture assembles itself. Harrison Caldwell, the man who wrote an email expressing concerns about leadership at Wallace Capital, the man who asked Tyrone to wait with the drivers, the man who called him a beggar at his own daughter's wedding. His niece's education, her entire future, exists because of Tyrone Wallace's foundation. Receipt R11. The thank you letter sits in the foundation's files. From Olivia's mother, Harrison's sister, to Tyrone Wallace directly. Mr. Wallace, you gave my daughter a future. When no one else believed in her potential, your foundation did. We are forever grateful. We are forever grateful. Words written by Harrison's own sister, about the man Harrison called a beggar. Does Olivia know the source? Derek asks. She does now. Preston pulls out his phone, shows a recent message. She found out last month. She's been wanting to write to Tyrone directly, but wasn't sure how. Samantha reads the message. Her hand covers her mouth. My God, my father has no idea. None. Preston shakes his head. His own sister is forever grateful to the man he humiliated today. The irony is staggering. Almost too perfect. Almost too cruel. But it's not revenge. The scholarship was awarded 3 years ago, long before today, long before Harrison's behavior provided context for this revelation. Tyrone didn't plan this, didn't orchestrate it, didn't even know the connection until after the grant was approved. The universe, it seems, has its own sense of justice. "What do you want to do with this?" Derek asks. Tyrone considers the question. He could go public, could leak the connection to the same whisper networks that have spent the afternoon circulating Harrison's email, could watch Harrison Caldwell's reputation crumble under the weight of his own hypocrisy. But that's not who Tyrone Wallace is. That's not who Gloria Wallace raised him to be. "Nothing," he says finally. Olivia's scholarship is Olivia's story. It's not a weapon. It's not revenge. It's a young woman getting an education she deserves. And Harrison? Harrison will have to live with who he is. Tyrone looks out at the darkening sky. That's punishment enough. Preston puts a hand on his friend's shoulder. "My mother used to say you were a better man than our family deserved to know." "Your mother was complicated." She was, but she wasn't wrong about that. The party continues inside. The DJ has started. Guests are moving to the dance floor. A wedding carries on, but underneath it all, a quiet revolution has occurred. Truth has done its work, and Harrison Caldwell will never be able to undo what everyone now knows about him. Mini cliffhanger. The speeches are about to begin, and Preston has something to say. The ballroom falls silent as Preston Caldwell takes the microphone. 180 guests settle into their seats. Phones lower. Conversations pause. The brother of the bride commands attention simply by existing. "Thank you all for being here." Preston's voice is steady. "Today is about Samantha and Derek, about love, about the future they're building together." He pauses. "But before I toast them, I need to talk about someone else." His eyes find Tyrone at the back of the room, the table near the kitchen, the seat meant to hide him. "In 1999, I started my freshman year at Yale. I was the rich kid nobody wanted to know, too much baggage, too many assumptions." The room is utterly still. "One person sat down next to me in the library and asked what I was reading, not who my family was, not what my name meant, just what I was reading." Receipt R12. The photograph appears on the screen behind Preston. 2 freshmen, 1999, 1 black, 1 white, both grinning like they've discovered something the world hasn't figured out yet. That person was Tyrone Wallace, and for 25 years he's been the best friend I've ever had. Whispers flutter through the crowd. Tyrone's name carries different weight now. "Tyrone taught me that character isn't about your background. It's not about your bank account. It's not about your family name." Preston's voice drops slightly, more intimate, more pointed. "It's about how you treat people who can't do anything for you." His eyes scan the room, not looking for anyone in particular, just making sure everyone hears. Today, some people in this room learned who Tyrone Wallace really is. A billionaire, a leader, Forbes 400, self-made. He pauses. "But I want you to know who he's always been." His gaze settles briefly on the empty seat where Harrison was supposed to be. He's the man who never asks for recognition, who never announces his title, who wears a $40 watch because he doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. Another pause. Some people looked at Tyrone today and saw what they expected, and what they expected was less than what was there. A murmur ripples through the guests. "That says nothing about Tyrone." Preston's voice hardens. "And everything about them." He raises his glass. "To Samantha and Derek, may you build a life based on love, not assumptions. May you see people for who they are, not who you expect them to be." The room rises. Glasses lift. Derek stands. His voice carries without a microphone. "I need to add something." He looks at Tyrone. "This man gave me my first chance when no one else would. Not because of who I knew, because of who I was willing to become. Everything I am today, including the man Samantha chose to marry, started with him. Applause begins. Genuine this time. Samantha reaches for her husband's hand. Tears stream down her face. Happy tears now. The Caldwell family declined to comment when contacted about the events of the wedding. Tyrone doesn't speak. Doesn't need to. The truth has done its work. Mini cliffhanger. The wedding ends, but the story is not over. 8 months later. Stonington Country Club admits its first black member in 100 years. Victoria Palmer accepts the invitation on her second offer. To change something, she says, you have to be inside it. Harrison Caldwell resigns from the club's board. He stops attending family events. Eleanor visits Samantha sometimes, alone, awkwardly, with apologies she can never quite finish. Derek makes partner at Wallace Capital Holdings. He and Samantha buy a house outside Greenwich. They don't join any country clubs. Olivia Caldwell graduates from Cambridge with honors. She writes to Tyrone directly now. Her letters discuss education reform, breaking cycles, paying forward. She signs them, with endless gratitude, Olivia. Tyrone Wallace still wears his $40 watch, still drives himself, still walks through front doors without announcing who he is. He visits his mother's grave in Baltimore every year on her birthday, brings calla lilies, stands in silence. One day, she told him once, you'll walk through every front door in this city, and people like them will wonder how they ever missed you. She was right. She was always right. A billionaire brought a poor black man to his sister's wedding. The family froze when the groom said, "Hello, boss." And the family learned what everyone should already know. The value of a person is not in how they treat those with power. It's in how they treat those they believe have none. If this story made you think about how you see others, share it. Subscribe. And remember, the person you overlook today might be the one you need tomorrow.